and she, or I can ask you about her name. She's lives in Mankato, and she's got a installation, sort of two-dimensional work today. So we'll just be talking to her and seeing what sort of was going through her mind when she was making this, sort of what her objectives are. And we're in Northeast Sculpture Gallery in the Casket Arts Building in Northeast Minneapolis. So Dana, I guess we'll maybe take a quick pass over to the gallery and just so we can show people like what we're looking at here.
Awesome.
Yeah. So Dana, I guess we can talk about Will Pans. So, you know, I always start with this sort of pedestrian question, but what is your favorite piece here and sort of why?
I think within this exhibition here, I don't know, it's always a hard one because there's a lot of factors within each piece that I obviously enjoy, but kind of like one that really draws me in obviously is kind of the central piece here on the back wall.
Oh yeah, let's go start there.
And all of this work is fairly brand new. This was kind of really what I was focusing on within this show. So also when I'm planning an exhibition, really thinking about the space as a whole, especially because I kind of identify as an installation artist. Yeah. The work kind of is dictated by the space itself.
Just the feel of it.
Yeah, and just, you know, within my work, I kind of try and find this balance between installation as well as two-dimensional work. So work that's made in the studio beforehand and work that's made in the gallery space. So I'm just trying to find that balance. But with this one here, I really did that the space had this nice entry point.
Right.
Where I wanted kind of this large visual that had the symmetry to it.
Right.
That kind of stand out, kind of creating this line to the other works that kind of assist the main central piece.
Okay.
So I think it's because of like the scale and the symmetry and the actual line it creates.
Right, and it does sort of hold, it has that, I mean, literally has the show in its hand, right?
Yeah, and it's, you know, this show is kind of who am I, kind of sounds a little cheesy, but, and that's okay.
I like that title.
And that's a little cheesy.
It's the subtitle.
Yeah. Well, and I think my work is a little cheesy too, but right now within making this work, it's, like I said, it's all pretty recent.
Yeah.
Going through this transition as a creative person right now and trying to figure out like the transitions of like my creative career, like that's kind of how I identify myself. You know, like who I am is really what I make.
Yes, that's a good point.
And I'm going through these transitions, so I've been thinking about a lot of that within the work that I'm creating now.
Yeah.
So it's basically what I can do with my hands.
Yeah.
Is how I'm going to identify myself later on.
Right.
You know, so I just like the idea of those thoughts.
Oh, that's
so
great.
The show is kind of like taking the action. That's why there's a lot of repeating imagery of like the hands. Back here into the moths. Yeah. The moths have a symbolism.
Well, these are moths.
Yeah, they're moths. So they share a lot of symbolism for the idea of like telling the future and going towards the light.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Just the idea of colors of blue and the cars and hands and all that kind of imagery kind of symbolizes that idea of like the prediction of what's forward or what's next.
I feel like this is, in a way, I mean, when you're saying all that, go to July and, you know, what's coming next, but I do feel like it's really personal.
Yeah.
Personal iconography.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
And I've always been really drawn to really more like graphic, like illustrative quality. That's how I draw. And for a really long time, you know, I was making all of this work that people were kind of defining as like cutesy or like feminine, you know, like, oh, the butterflies and these like bright saturated colors and these really cool black graphic lines and stuff like that. And it really made me feel kind of insecure, like I was becoming this like grown woman and I was making work that felt kind of cartoonish. And that made me really insecure about how I wanted to, or what I wanted to make for a really long time. And I kind of got to the point of like, this is what I really enjoy, I'm just going to own it.
Right.
Yeah. So then it's like, how do you take that aesthetic that I'm interested
interview, not with you, but other people were talking. But we were talking about like how one show is sort of just this time capsule. It doesn't mean this is who you are in Granite, but this is who you are in the middle of the year in 2000 or 2020. Okay, so then this is like sort of holds the show. So you see this as sort of like a pinnacle, and then you like branch out.
Well, yeah, of course, and I think that's every exhibition for every artist. A little bit, you know, it's like this is kind of like this show is kind of the step to the next one.
For sure.
You know, and for me, with this being more recent work, this is kind of like a stepping stone for the next section of work.
Yeah.
That I'll possibly making. And then, like I said, you know, years ago I was really based just really strongly in installation.
Yeah.
So everything was really created in the gallery space.
Yeah.
But then that was drawing a big toll on just like what I'm able to install within a certain amount of time. Just my own personal sanity.
Yeah.
Being able to sell the work.
Right.
As well. So that's why right now I'm trying to figure out how do I be okay with making something 2D.
Yeah.
And not thinking that it's just flat and
Right.
not engaging to the space.
Well, that's what I was going to say. You've activated the space, I mean, either with these polka dots or these banners, right? And so is that your way of a little nod toward installation, or?
Yeah, that's 100%. I think especially when you come in the gallery space, you know, you have these great walls, but then your viewpoint is kind of interrupted by these big white lines through everything. And that just really kind of bugged me.
Yeah.
So when I got into the space to install, it was like, okay, we need to activate, like basically
That's
the
smart.
element.
Yeah, that's smart. Yeah.
And that the colors then draw you to the walls versus just kind of looking at these big chunks.
Right.
Of building the center of the pieces.
And yeah, and you talk about color, like that's just who you are. Like you want these bright colors. You want the, I mean, in a way it's almost like, it's happy work, right?
Yeah, people have said that.
But you're not just a purely happy person. You've got a little bit of an edge. I mean, for sure. You're, I wouldn't say, I don't want to say critical, but you have an edge. There's an edge.
Yeah.
You're not like, what do I want to say? Sort of like, here I go. I mean, you're not like just like, hi, how are you? Like everything's fine, flowers are growing out my asshole, you know? True. Right? So you've got this edge. And where do you find that edge in your work? Or do you put that in there? Or is it just you hide the edge? Or what do you think about that?
I think a lot of that within my work comes from like the aspect of installation. And just the way that things are displayed within the show is kind of the idea of breaking the line of visual work. Just because, like, I don't know, the idea of having just like squares on the wall.
That's
for
awesome.
some reason,
That's so great.
I don't know, it makes me feel a little insecure.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's trying to figure out how does one piece activate the next one going to it. Like basically, how do you create a movement through the whole entire space versus each piece itself kind of being this static thing.
Right.
And then you move to the next thing.
Right.
And then you kind of move to the next thing.
Yeah.
So I'm really trying to figure out how to like create a flow, and I really do that when I'm installing, which is always under time limit. Yeah. Which a lot of artists don't necessarily have to experience when creating your work.
Right. So do you have elements and then you put them together in the space? Oh, wow! I didn't know that. I thought these were like you work at these at home and like this is a piece, this is a piece. But you're you're collaging.
Yes.
You're collaging in the space where you work, where you install.
Yeah, that's I think one of the most important parts of my process.
Yeah.
Because it's really hard for me, like mentally, to compose a whole exhibition not in the space. And I think one thing that draws me to still including installation into my work is I like that idea of critical thinking. Yeah. And I like that time constraint within the installing and making quick decisions.
Oh, that's
within
nice.
my work.
Great.
And I like being able to play in the space, with everything here. So everything is a collage. It's a collage of different materials. Yeah. Printmaking, silkscreen, painting directly on the wall, painting itself on canvas. fibers.
Right.
Yeah, so it's, having all these elements and then really collaging them together to create a flowing installation between the pieces.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and especially since all the pieces are really heavy within mixed media, I really want to make sure that they do tie together, that they don't seem as separate creatives.
Oh, for sure. Oh, yeah. There's overarching elements in this show for sure.
Yeah, so it's kind of collaging certain elements together to create cohesion.
Right.
Because sometimes maybe the content or the concept doesn't maybe connect for everyone, but just the elements and principles do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there is this like mystery, right? There's a mystery, an intent. I think it's intentful mystery about your work, and maybe that's just the, like the clock. It's sort of surreal, and the hand, the palm reading, right? And so there's this mystery or otherworldly, element to your work, and so, and that could be your psyche. You're saying that, is it ever really revealed in your work?
I don't think so, because I don't think it's the work's trying to say like this is what is the artist exactly what it is.
Yeah.
They always have that saying like, oh, it's open to the viewer,
right?
Which I don't really like that saying per se.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's about the ideas and the thoughts, and especially like when you're talking about with the poem, like with this show, I've always been so like, my life, like my professional life, my social life, it's all dictated around identifying as a creative person.
Yeah.
And so it's really about the things that I create with my mind and my hands.
Okay.
Which it can be kind of stressful.
Yes, I hear you.
Like, oh, what if I can't make that, or I can't think of that idea?
Right.
Like my lifestyle really depends on it. And so then you think of the act of like palm reading.
Yes.
Being able to tell that's like what's next from the action or the lines in your hand.
Right.
And it is kind of like like what's next is dictated by what I'm able to do with my hands. So I was always really curious, like just that idea of deciding like what's next. So like the imagery of the hand, or just like even this shape here is kind of dictated as the hand.
Right. Yeah. I can see that. Yeah. I was thinking it felt like that.
Yeah. So again, there's that connection point between things. Does it necessarily have to be understood by the viewer to be successful? I don't think so.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a line I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah. Right. And then you also, Dana, do a social practice. A big part of your work, your oeuvre, is social practice, right? And riding the bike around Minnesota and like interviewing artists. And that's your own piece, really, even though you're interviewing artists.
Yeah, it's like a curatorial piece. So within my creative practices, I don't just necessarily identify as a visual artist. Even, I think that's a lot of us. So I do a lot of like curating projects, a lot of social justice projects as well in relationship to arts and culture. So one of the projects that I just kind of completed this last year was Project Bike.
Woo!
Yay!
Project Bike!
Yes. And that was a piece that was really stemmed out of the idea of artists and people not really connecting as much anymore. A lot of things are just through mainly like social media and the internet, and we don't really understand like the who, what, why artists are making and creating their work. And I just wanted to do something that opened the door a little bit for artists to speak on those reasons. And so basically, you're not aware of Project Bike. It's a bike tour that I did the last 5 summers, kind of biking through the state, meeting with artists living in super rural areas, to the metro here, and interviewing them about why they do what they do, and then collecting artwork, and then biking it out back to Mankato for an exhibition. And then they're turned into documentaries. Amy was on one a couple of years ago.
I think I wore this shirt.
I think you did too, actually. Now that I think about that. But that's always a question, because even when I'm interviewing artists, either down in Mankato at 410 Project or for Project Bike, it's always, people always ask, like, oh, what are you going to do next? Or what are you working on? Or blah, blah. And it's like, Project Bike just got done, and it was like every interview I did, it was like, oh, what are you going to do now?
Yeah.
Or, Project Bike's not going on, and that's how people know you, like, who are you going to be now? And it's like, and I'm like, I don't know. And I'm like, why as creatives do we have to constantly answer that question?
So is this part of the show? Like, who am I? Like,
yeah.
This is who I am right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a thought that's really been consuming.
Oh, that's interesting. For yourself personally.
Yeah.
Like, who are you?
Yeah. Well,
ooh, I want to hear that.
I don't know. Don't be one of those people that, oh yeah, I guess you are interviewing. But yeah, so I think that situation that's happening within my current life right now. Gosh, that's better.
Or someone's stomach. I don't know.
So I think those thoughts are happening, and I'm having to answer that question constantly.
Yeah.
Because of things going on with Project Bike, and I think just being, a female in my 30s and biking around state and making documentaries and painting and doing all stuff, and people are like, well, what are you doing? What's like, it's like, oh, it's okay to not know. And I like how you said, when I said, well, who are you? And you said, well, that's part of this, I don't know who this is, This is the transition. You're asking the question, you're not posing the answer. Yeah. And I think all art sort of does that. We ask questions, but it's not like, okay, here's the definitive answer. 100%. And even with the flags, it's like, I can predict your future, and then the one over there says confused. Because that's... Oh, do you read them sort of like... Yeah. Okay. Normally they would be displayed a little bit closer together. Yeah. Because I just thought it was just really comical. And you kind of know what's going on, let's be honest. Oh, yeah, that's right. And you could be... Well, and I was talking before you were here, it's sort of like, who am I? And you could ask that question when you're 18, you could ask that question when you're 35, or you could ask that question when you're 60 or 70, right? So it's like we never, maybe some of us, maybe Buddhist monks know who they are or something, but most of us, who are in the grind, like your life, your art defines who you are. So if I saw this, I'm coming off the street, right? I would say, you're really fun, you're colorful, right? You're all over the place, right? Yes. You're like on every wall. You're like sort of like meandering. And I think it does speak to having a journey, right? This word to me does. So that's interesting. I think that's really interesting. Yeah. So it's just taking, and then like I said, being okay with taking, even though I don't necessarily identify as like this like feminine woman. Yeah, no, I would say in which I'm okay with, but I'm still attracted. So that's kind of this weird balance of like being okay with being more of this like identify as more masculine and not as feminine, but then like so I'm always constantly thinking about that. Me too. And like what my appearance, like the acceptability of being 35 and dressing this way. Not really like focusing. So then it's just like when I think about this too, the idea of like femininity and makeup and relationship to like where I should, like this is how I should look at this age. Yeah. This is like the stereotype. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And do you feel like you're falling short, or like you're like, fuck it, I don't care? I don't think I'm falling short. I am short, but no, you're probably taller than I am. But not that you're falling short, but there is a standard of beauty, right? In United States. To some people, yes. And you and I probably, you're a little more. You have style. I have style. I do have style, yeah. So, anyway, do you feel this work is gendered in a way? I think some people can see it as that, yeah. I think because of a lot of the imagery of, like the butterflies and the bees and that idea of gender within those, like the birds and bees type of thing. Yeah, right. Which isn't necessarily, I'm not necessarily drawing for that connection. Right. But yeah, I definitely think there's a lot of idea of gender and being okay with, like, this is how I identify, like, that piece that there. Yeah, I remember talking about that. It's obviously pretty minimal, but I just am really interested in that idea of drawing a line in space. Yeah. Like even the, like, Murphy spiral here. Yeah. But I didn't really want to experiment with drawing that I haven't really been doing Project Bike. So this is the first summer I haven't had to really think about my team as like physically helping bike across the state.
Right.
So, and I had to dictate the way my body looked and felt because of this other project. And now I don't have to do that.
Oh.
So I've been able
sort of
to.
freeing.
Yeah, it's extremely freeing because it's a really intense process to like curate the body to be a certain way to do something. And now I don't have to do that, so I'm able just to like be in the way that I want the body to be and not be dictated by outside things.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Well, women's bodies are so regulated and policed, and for female bodies, it seems like. So this is interesting, and this to me was sort of like, is there a nostalgia in your work? Nostalgia, sort of like memory. Well, there is memory, right? But is it sort of like I feel like some of this work is really like, to me, this is like 60s pattern making.
Yeah, a little bit. And I used to do a lot of that in my previous work.
Yeah.
That kind of like domestic patterning and stuff. I've just been, like, my legs are really important to me when it comes to like track. Like, I'm a cyclist, to like track where I belong.
Right.
My legs are really important for my creative practice. And my legs are, I don't know, it's just weird to think. So so then I was like, oh, the legs are kind of.
Right.
So instead of my hands,
It's so gestural though,
And I'm just really drawn to the idea of just like the solid black line. And how strong that can just be on its own.
Yeah. But this is definitely illustrated, right? And illustration plays it's such a main role in your work.
100%,
Okay.
And I used to not be okay with just having simplistic work like this, but it's a transition I'm trying to be okay with.
Right. Well, it shows a range. Yeah. And to me, I mean, like, you can do something so, like, who drew that, right? Like, oh my God, I could never draw that.
Yeah, because this is a drawing turned into a silk screen. Okay, so the paper is spray painted, and then it's the pattern of the moth is screen printed, and then it's cut out by hand, and then painted the yellow on top.
Okay, wow.
So everything is really processed.
Right,
when it comes to my printmaking, and then all of those come together and then installed in the show, which is also extremely repetitive. Repetition is a huge thing in relationship to my work. Either that's through the medium of like printmaking or installing the show or the imagery itself. And even in the concept too.
Yeah, right. Well, and that could be almost like a meditation.
It
or
is
it just drudgery?
No, I love it.
Okay.
At least I hope I do.
Yeah, good. So we'll see that in the future more. So what do you think is next in your work?
I don't know.
That's exciting.
It is exciting. I think right now as creatives it's really heavy right now to be an artist. Do we create work, that like we're really drawn to or we're really passionate about, or do we use our talents to use our work in some form of different advocacy too right now? So it's trying to, or for like education or things like that. So right now it's kind of just figuring out that balance for me. Within my own work as well as like my social practice projects as well. So we shall see.
Ooh, I like that.
There's always something going on.
Yeah. Well, Northeast Sculptures, thanks you so much for showing your work here. It was great. And it's up, this is Wednesday the 12th? So it's up till Saturday
the 15th.
Saturday the 15th. And the hours for the gallery is, what do you think? 10 to
12 to 5.
12 to 5. Perfect. So Saturday. So come down Northeast Casket Arts Building.
And then Friday at 7, they're having a kind of closing reception.
Oh, awesome.
Here.
Okay. I'll come.
So I'll be here, come check it out, have a conversation about basically anything, the work.
Awesome. Yeah, great. All right, very good. Thank you. Thanks everybody for